Hi crafty friends, this is Joy with Create It with Joy. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's project is for Spellbinders using their small die of the month, stacked decorative edges. Now I made 2 cards with these dies and I made them fairly simple, but you could definitely get very elaborate with these dies. They are absolutely gorgeous and so much fun, and I cannot believe what beautiful cards you can make with these. So let's get started. So here is the small die. You can see how many pieces you get in this. You get a sentiment strip that says thank you. You start with this, you have an edged die here. So it cuts a nice little beautiful decorative edge to paper to the bottom of your card. Here's another one, and I'm going to be using this one for one of my cards. And I think it is so, so pretty. And then you've got these other ones that just cut these beautiful shapes and open areas into your card. Then you have this rectangular die that cuts out a strip. You can cut around the thank you die. It also cuts a strip and a frame. So you kind of get 2 for 1 in that rectangular sentiment strip. This cuts a nice straight line. And then again, here's another decorative piece like that other one that I showed you. It's on the same kind of size, and then you have another larger one, or a smaller one, excuse me. I'm sorry that my footage got cut off. I'm not sure what happened with my camera. Okay, so we are going to ink up this A2 sized card base, and I am using some Distress Oxide inks in Abandoned Coral, which is this first color. The second color is Dried Marigold, and then Squeezed Lemonade. I'm going to fade that into a little bit of white at the top, a little ombre into the white. And I'm just doing this straight onto the card base because I want to be doing the die cutting into this front of the card base rather than a card panel, so you can see through to the inside of the card. Now, when you're writing your sentiment, write it above that open area, but I think it really turned out great and stunning. So I just did the ink blending, got everything nice and beautiful. And now we are going to start with this bottom piece, and I kept it very low at the bottom, but you could go up much higher depending on how short you want the front of your card base to be. Now that that's done, I'm just going to use my tool in one and kind of clean out and pop out all those little pieces using the little pointy end and that little brush. Now that that's done, I'm taking the next piece. Make sure your ink is dry because mine wasn't dry, so I had to add the tape to the sides of this because it didn't want to stay in place because the ink was still wet. So ran that through my die cut machine, and you can see how beautiful that turned out. Now this is some like copper mirrored cardstock that I got from Spellbinders, a kit from like a bajillion years ago, and I'm cutting another piece out of that with the same die cut that I cut the bottom of that card base with. I'm going to add that behind the bottom piece and offset it. I am taking that straight die cut piece and adding it so I can cut that whole bottom piece out because it doesn't cut at the top, it just cuts out the bottom parts. So that straight piece is needed for this. Now that that's cut out, I'm going to offset that at the bottom there. So you have this nice little bronze effect. Gold would have been beautiful too, but I was trying to get myself out of using gold because I love gold so much. And so I just tend to, I don't want to overuse it, if that makes sense. I kind of want to step out of the box. I don't know that bronze is that far out of the box, but I did it anyways. So I add a little bit of liquid adhesive. I'm lining it up behind, offsetting it just a little bit, making sure everything is nice and level. And then you have that nice little bit of detail at the bottom. I'm going to trim off a little bit of excess that I have going on the side there. And see how pretty that is? So, so pretty. Now I did off camera, I used the Glimmer hot foil machine and used some of Yana's sentiments, and it says best wishes, and I did it with bronze foil, Glimmer hot foil, and I'm adding that down to the front of this card. This really is a super simple card, but I love how it turned out. And then I have some really beautiful Simon Says Stamp Marina Sequins, and I just took the gold and peach, and then I took from Honeybee Stamps some small clear dewdrops and added that to this card to stay in this kind of peach and coral color scheme. And isn't that so pretty? Super simple, but those die cuts just make it beautiful. And like I said, you could go really extravagant and do a ton of those on the front of a card. But like I said, I kept mine very simple. Okay, so on to this next card. I did white and navy. I used some cardstock from Cardstock Warehouse, their Winter Blues cardstock pack, and I did like their navy blue. But I'm taking that die cut to a white piece of cardstock that's trimmed down about a ½ inch smaller than an A2 size card base. And isn't that one pretty? That's the one when my footage cut out. This is the one I did not get to show you, so I'm glad you guys get to see it now. So I'm trimming that down, like I said, about a ½ inch smaller all the way around. Then I'm going to be adding some of that blue cardstock behind it with a little bit of a frame, and then it will also show through. So I'm trimming that down because I want a tiny, tiny frame around it. Not quite tiny enough. There's something about that I think is just so elegant. So now I'm cutting out a strip out of that same cardstock because again, I don't like to try not to waste my cardstock. So if it's going to be matted behind a piece of another cardstock, I'm just going to cut it out of there. So you can see I have a strip and a frame, and I cut it out again out of white cardstock because I needed a white frame. So now I'm adhering that white panel to my navy blue panel. And then I will adhere that to my A2 sized white card base. And isn't that stunning? And now I'm going to take that white frame that was die cut from the triangle. Again, you get a solid triangular piece and a triangular frame. So I'm going to glue that down, and then we're going to inlay that blue piece of cardstock. And again, I have a Glimmer hot foil sentiment from Yana's Sentiments that says thank you. And I'm going to adhere that down with some liquid glue. And I've got some really beautiful big gold sequins that I'm going to add in and around. And then this card is really done. And this is a very guy color scheme, even though you could totally give this to a girl too, but you could do this as a birthday card for a guy and it would be fantastic. I think none of this is girly in any way. So this is great because I don't know about you, but I struggle making guy cards because I want to make everything so pretty, but you could get away with these die cuts being a guy's card. Again, you can make these way more extravagant than I did. You could add multiple different layers of these die cuts, but I think this turned out stunning. It's so simple and so pretty. I hope that you guys enjoyed this card, and I hope you enjoy these dies because they're really awesome. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by. I hope that you feel inspired to create something wonderful. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe to my channel, thumbs up, share with your crafty friends, comment because I love talking with you guys. I do have some affiliate links below. It costs you guys absolutely nothing to use them, but I appreciate that you do because it does help me to continue making these videos. So thank you again so very much, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.